A groundbreaking study from Tel Aviv University could significantly alter how we understand human learning and memory formation, particularly when it comes to classical and operant conditioning. The research reveals that our brain engages in a fierce battle between these two learning systems, and only one can dominate at a time. This discovery suggests that when we attempt to learn two conflicting actions for the same situation simultaneously, it leads to confusion, making it harder to perform either action in the future. The team behind this study, led by Professor Moshe Parnas and PhD student Eyal Rosenfeld from the Laboratory for Neural Circuits and Olfactory Perception, focused on fruit flies to demonstrate their findings. Their results were published in Science Advances, and they provide new insight into how our brains manage competing learning systems. To understand the study, let's break down the two types of conditioning. Classical conditioning, first popularized by Ivan Pavlov's famous experiment with dogs, involves passive learning. For example, when a dog learns to associate the sound of a bell with food, the dog begins salivating at the sound of the bell alone. This process links two stimuli together. Operant conditioning, on the other hand, involves active behavior. Humans and animals learn to repeat behaviors that lead to positive outcomes or avoid those that result in negative ones. If a person touches a hot stove and gets burned, they quickly learn to avoid doing it again. For years, scientists believed these two systems work together in the brain, helping us learn in different ways. But what happens when these systems provide conflicting instructions? For instance, a mouse trained to fear a certain smell might freeze under classical conditioning, but flee under operant conditioning. What would happen if both memories existed simultaneously? In their experiment with fruit flies, the Tel Aviv University researchers found that the brain cannot process both types of learning at the same time. The flies were taught to associate a specific smell with an electric shock. When trained using classical conditioning, the flies learned to freeze upon encountering the odor. However, when trained with operant conditioning, the flies learned to flee from the smell to avoid the shock. The most interesting part? The flies could not learn both actions at once. Attempting to teach both classical and operant conditioning resulted in no learning at all. The researchers identified the brain mechanisms involved in this process, noting that the brain actively suppresses one type of learning when the other is prioritized. This is done by the brain's navigation center, which ensures only one memory type is active at any given time. This is a protective mechanism, preventing confusion when conflicting memories are trying to guide behavior. This research completely shifts our understanding of how the brain learns. It suggests that the brain's learning systems are in constant competition, and the brain's prioritization helps prevent confusion. As Professor Parnas explains, you can think of it as a mental tug-of-war. If you focus on learning through your actions, the brain blocks automatic associations and vice versa. This mechanism helps avoid confusion, but it also explains why we struggle to learn two conflicting things at once. Moreover, the findings offer exciting possibilities for treating learning disorders. By understanding how the brain forms memories, especially in conditions like ADHD or Alzheimer's, we could develop new strategies for treatment. The discovery highlights the brain's remarkable ability to select between different learning systems, ensuring we don't get overwhelmed by conflicting information. So, the next time you're multitasking, remember, your brain might be struggling to juggle multiple learning systems, which could explain why it's sometimes harder to focus on important details. This discovery could reshape our approach to memory and learning in ways we never imagined. Let me know your thoughts on this fascinating research. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the latest scientific discoveries.